So here's what I did was I did an exercise. This is page 325, bottom of page 325, going over to page 326. This is exercise number 6, exercise, not program exercise, exercise, okay? So they provided the code for you in this problem is this part right here. And you put this inside of the main like I have right now with it. So let me give you a few minutes if you want to pause the screen or look at your book and input this into your screen with it. We'll take a few minutes to have you do this, and so you can see what's going on. So I want to pause. I want to pause for a moment that you do this. So making sure that you have everything right with it, do Control F5 that you don't have any syntax error. And if you remember on the top of inside of part number 6, they tell you they want you to input a 1 space 0 space 35 space 15 space 28 space 66 space -1. Let's check to make sure. 1, 20, 35, 15, 28, 66, -1. And then you hit enter, you input that, and the sum comes out to be 124 is the sum. But the question is, how do they get to this is the question. And I don't care, this is not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for this output in this. We are tracing these variables are num, sum, and count. These are the 3 variables that we're going to actually trace for you to see what is actually taking place and how they arrive. How do we arrive with 164 with this thing? So I'm going to close out of this right now. Here's what I'm going to do. So so I'm going to basically keep this the way how it is with it. I'm going to just to have some things lay out with it so you could see. I'm going to collapse some of the screen so you can see, have a little bit more room. I'm going to have another document going on, is an Excel document, so I can see the row and columns that's going on with it. And I want to show you what's going on when we actually place it through the screen actually in this problem right now. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to open up this document right now. Let me just unpin this thing, auto hide with this thing, and I'm going to actually bump this to the left. Minimize some of the stuff I have here. Get rid of this little clutter with it. So here's one screen I want to display. It's this one. Let me move this a little bit like so. And then I'm going to have another screen. Is my Excel document. I'm going to use this kind of like a table for you to see with this thing. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what's going on here. And I'm going to move this a little bit over. And again, the variables in the table header would be what? Num, sum, and count. I'm going to do num, sum, and count. Okay? Num, sum, and count. So I'm going to align all of these things to make it center so we can see a little better with this. And I want this row to be bold so we can have a little better view of see what's going on with this thing. All right? And of course, in the middle is where I'm going to have, I'm going to put in some header, some stops in this thing. So I'm going to put in some stops here. Not here. I'm going to read in what is count. I'm going to read in count. I'm going to read in sum. I want to see what's inside count here. And I want to put in some breakpoints in here in my code. So if you want to follow along, put in the on where it is count, sum, count here, which is mine is line 12, 13, 15, 17, 18, and 19, and one more is the sum. All right. So I want for you to see how we're doing this pencil and paper on the side, and also when I compile this and we see what's displayed in the output for this thing as well. So here we go. I'm going to click on the local debugger. All right. So I'm going to click on the logo debugger. Here it is here with it. So it's prompting me right now. Let me move this to make this a little bigger. So it's prompting me basically is to put, I'm going to put this in the middle so we can see all screens at the same time. Okay. So here, again, I'm going to put in, what numbers am I putting in? I'm going to put in 1 space 1. Come on, my keyboard just choked on me. Hold on. So I figured out what basically happened is that it kind of choked on me when I did the play button, is because I had the line number 12 and 13 breakpoint. It couldn't read it in, so I couldn't input it in. So you need to take off the breakpoints for 13 and 12 or 13. So disable or turn off the breakpoints for me with it as well. So I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to adjust this so we could see this in the middle of the screen and the whole thing with it, so, and also at the same time with the thing. So I'm going to input in exactly what they asked you to do. Is number 6, they want 1 space 20 space 35 space 15 space 28 space 66 space and a -1. Okay, I'm going to hit enter. So comes in, it's storing. Look at the left here. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. Look, C out is 1. I'm sorry, count is 1 and sum is 20. So C in right now is reading the first one. That's what's going to be what? C in is 1, right? 1 stands for what? For the count. Look at the bottom left here. So the count here, I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to put a 1. This is our pencil and paper side. And the sum that's reading on after this line is reading in the 20, which is this 20 right here. You agree? So the 20 is over here. So I really want to do this on a pencil and paper and also show you what's taking place inside of the Visual Basic with this thing, right? Again, the next step we'll come down, we'll look into is the one that says, let me adjust this a little bit over so we can have a little bit over in the step over with this as well. So inside of this right now, you see there is a step over. So I'm going to step over and I'm going to read the next number. What do you think num's going to be? Look, right here. Look at this green arrow right here. It's reading the next num. What's my next num? This is 35 right now. You see that? So it's going to store 35, which is this number, which is going here. This is the one. Look at this green arrow right here. So 35, I'm going to put 35 right here before I forget with this thing. And then I'm going to click on step over. And you notice that here is num is the 35. It goes down to the next line with this thing. Now, in this line, you take num plus sum, both of these things. You know, I hover over these things with it. So num is 35 plus sum, and it updates the sum to 55. Okay? So what I need to do here, I'm going to come in here. I need to strike out this right here, and this becomes 55. And watch how I actually do this in a step over. So I'm going to step over that and notice how sum at the bottom left over. You see where my cursor is hovering over? It shows that it is a 55. And that's what I have is on my hand trace table as well. Okay? Now, I'm going to come over here. Same thing. Again, I'll do all the strike through in a second with it as well. With it so you can see the strike through with this. I just don't have enough space right here. Let's see here. Strike through. Okay, so it goes like this. You get the hang of this? All right. Now, I'm going to move this over here a little bit so I don't encroach. I'm going to step through this, and I want us to go through this line by line so you can see what's going on in this thing. So I come down to this right bracket for the while loop with it, right? And I have all my values in this thing. So in my count, it's 2, right? Because I've completed 2 here, right? I didn't tell you about that because look, count now is incremented to 1. So after that becomes 2 to this. This needs to be striked out. Okay, so with it. So you come down here into this thing. So just make sure 2. Here's our 2. Look, our 2. Our num is 35. Look, our num is 35. Our sum is 55. Cool. Now, we're going to do our next one, is our next step through for this thing. So you come up, Compare count. What is count? 2. 2 is less than or equal to 4. True. Step again. Step over into it. You're reading the next num. What is the next num? Look, you read in 35. The next number is going to be 15. Okay? Now the moment I put step next over to this thing, this is going to be 15 over here, right? So, boom. Look at the 15 here. It turns red, and I need to strike through this 35. And this becomes 15. Okay? So now I come down here and into this thing. I'm doing this pencil and paper and also showing it to you in the whole screen so you can see what we just did over here with it. So this is what I want you to do, is take a screenshot of this. This is the beauty of what's on pencil and paper and also what's in the compiler. And you have to match it, yes, match by match with this thing, okay? So coming through this thing, so where are we at? Look at your yellow-green arrow over here. You're going to update, what's the sum? 55 is the sum. You're going to add num to it, which is 55 plus 15, should update you to 55 to what? 70, right? And this needs to be strike through. Okay, like that. So I'm going to hit next. So you're going to see, look, 70. Okay, so 15 plus 55 is 70. Now it becomes, this is the pencil paper side. Now you're going to update your count. All right, so this is going to update to what? 3. You agree? And this is going to be strike through. Now it becomes 3, right? Look, your count in here is still 2 because it is post incremented, right? So I'm going to click on the next one, step, and it changes to 3. So I have 3, 15, 70. Cool? Now, continue. You plug in your count as 3. 3 is less than or equal to 4. True. Come down, read in your next. See in num. So what's your num at this time? You read the last num is 15. Your next number is going to be 28. Correct? So this should, I'm just going to read in 28, pencil and paper, and this is going to be strike through because it's no longer a 15 with it. And you come down and you do the next step over. It'll tell you, it's going to test you, this is true. It's going to come down, it's going to read in 15 is your next one for this thing. Hang on, one more. So this becomes 28. You see my cursor is the red. This is your 28 over here with us. This is this 28 right here. Cool? Now, you're going to step through it again with it, with this after this line. You're going to take sum and num, add together, update this thing. So 78 plus 28 becomes what? 98, correct? So this is 98, and this gets strike through. In here, you have your 98, correct? And this is what we're going to do. We're going to actually do a step over so you can see inside of it. Here's the 98 right here. Can you see that at the bottom of the screen in the auto? All right, now the next one's going to update. It's going to be from 3 to what? Count's going to become 4, and this is going to be strike through again with it. Now, and then you come up again. Again, you come over here, you step through this, and then you come plug inside your 4. 4 is less than or equal to 4, which is true. You come in, you read in your next num. Of course, your last number was 28. Now you're going to read as what? The next one is 66. So this becomes 66, and 28 becomes strike through. You're going to strike through that. Okay. Now, you're going to read in your num, so you got your 98 is your sum, and your num is 66. 66 plus 98, my math comes out to be 164, if I did this right, right? So I'm going to strike through that 98 with it, right? And I'm going to check my math. If I did this right, it's going to change. When I step through to read my num, look, 28, which is this 28 right here, right? I'm going to do a step over, okay? So it becomes num now is 66. This is the 66, right? And then it's 98, which I strike through it again. And then now becomes 164. Okay? Remember now, this is the final number that you see in here. This is what's taking place inside the memory. Remember how we did the control F5 and it does what? It does this. Remember this? And you had all you saw was this part, which is the 164. Sum is 164 is the last one. You didn't see anything from all of your memory changes with this thing. And that's what oh, by the way, this changes to, of course, to 5. And then you have to actually strike through this. So your last memory across the board, your num is 66, your sum is 164, and your count is 5. Okay? So if I really want to look at it, you know, making sure, wait. So let me ask you this. You notice that I went to 5, but the last, what you thought you saw count here was 4. Let me step through this so you can see what's going on with this thing, alright? So I'm going to step through over one more time. Here's count. Look, count now is what? 5. You see that? Sum is 164. So my count does change to 5. This is what you don't see. This count here appears, you thought it is 4. You thought it ends at 4. But in the memory, it is 5. That is very important for you to see. This is what's last in the memory, is 5. You thought it is 4, equal to 4. No, it doesn't. It becomes 5, and then it becomes false. And this whole block of code gets output. So to see if you really want to do this, what should you have done? You could have done a C out, right? I'm not going to alter the code, but if you want, you can do a C out of your num, you C out of your count. How's that? Same statement as this. That way, you would see, here's your 5 and here's your num. Okay? But I'm altering the problem in the book with it. That's what I really want you to see is this trace table that's taking place. To do this exercise for a number, I want you to do number 8, number 11 is taking a snapshot of this whole thing is what you're doing right now. You see this? So if you want to do Control Alt Print Screen on this, all right, and come down here when you look at your assignment. I'm doing it. I'm not asking you to do this here, but let's say if I ask you to do number 6, and the screenshot will look like this. Okay, well, I take that back. Snippet tool. So this is why I want you to just take the whole screenshot. Shows me the table that you're doing. Well, this is covering the other number with it. That's a bad screenshot. Let me do another one. Let's make this thing smaller a little bit so you can see. So if I asked you to do for number 8 with it, I want to see all 3 screens is what you would do here with it. So taking a screenshot of this entire screen like this. Okay. Copy this. I'm using the snippet tool. So anything that you have in Windows 7 and above, there's this tool. You have a copy tool with this, and you can actually use your copy tool and just come over to your Word document over here. No, not that one. This one. Okay, so you paste that, looks like this with it. So it shows that here's what it is, here's your input, and this is your trace table, and trace table with the same. Alright, this concludes the tutorial for the number 6 that I have exercise for you to correlate what's hand traced plus what's in the compiler, what you input, and what's in the auto, what's in the memory. This is what I'm looking for. Alright, cool?